With the Create a Club being a new or more a return feature in FIFA22, we finally have the option again to create our own club from the ground up, creating our own kits for every season, and we even have the option to change our stadium every season, which is huge for a road to glory. But the Create a Club mode is not perfect, because when you have created your club, there are no real changes in comparison to a normal career mode. So in this video I will be giving you a couple of tips on how you can improve your Create a Club saves in FIFA22 career mode. If you go in and enjoyed this video, then be sure to give it a like and subscribe to my channel to not miss any other career mode tips. Now let's get into the video. With the returned edition of Create a Club, the options are endless in terms of club names, kits, crests and the squad settings. But if you are someone who is struggling to keep a career mode going for more than 3 seasons, it's important to pick the right team from the start. If you create a club which includes your name and doesn't actually exist in real life, then it might be quite hard to keep the enjoyment in the career mode, as there's no real story, background of the club or necessity to win something outside of just winning the league like in any other career mode save. I like to build certain ideas around clubs that existed in the past or are not in FIFA currently. I have a lot of ideas over on my website careermodetips.com. Check the first link in the description or watch some of my previous Create a Club videos I made where I showed several ideas around the mode. One of my favorite ideas is recreating the New York Cosmos, which was a big club between 1970 and 1985 in the MLS. The club signed famous players like Pelé, Franz Beckenbauer, Carlos Alberto, Johan Neeskens and Johan Cruyff. This contributed to a big development of soccer across the United States. The club eventually folded in 1985 and have seen a rebirth since, as they are now playing in the 3rd year of America. As you can see with this example, this club already existed in real life, had some amazing players in their squad and got folded before seeing a rebirth. This is a Create a Club idea that actually has some history and a story that already exists in real life. This club actually exists, and this is possibly the best reason to start a Create a Club career mode. If you try to recreate the New York Cosmos, you can make a story around the club finally being back in the MLS after a long period, and that they are going to do the same thing they did in the past, signing top tier players who are at the tail end of their career. When you eventually win the MLS in career mode, then that will be the first time in a long while, as the last time they won the NASL, which is now called the MLS, and it was in 1982. So when you recreate an already existing team or team that existed in the past, the created club already has history, a background, stories that you can apply to your career mode, and also has kits, a crest and a real stadium to try and recreate to the real life versions as close as possible. If you just create your own club with your own name, then it doesn't have all of this, and this can make it so much more difficult to keep the fun and enjoyment going for a longer period of time. That's why you should be very aware of what club you are going to create. Now another thing that you have to think about is the squad settings of your created club. Starting off with a 4-star team in the championship isn't really fun or challenging. Have a good look at the other teams in your league to see what the general overall ratings are and pick the amount of stars that is the same as theirs. However, if you are a new team in the league that just got promoted, then it would be more realistic to give your club less stars than the other teams. When looking at the squad age, I would suggest to give almost every team a balanced squad age. This means you will have a couple of older players and a couple of youngsters in your team. If you want to make it more challenging for yourself, then setting it on seasoned or veteran will suit you more, and you will have more older players to deal with and who you will have to replace during the career mode. You can also put the squad age on very young or young, which will give you more youngsters who can grow throughout the save. But this might also make it a bit too easy. The transfer budget you put yourself is also key. If you give yourself 10 million or more in a road to glory, then it's way too easy to buy new players and get promotion in every season. Putting it on 1 million gives you another challenge, and you will have to figure out on which players to spend it on, and you might have to sell a few players from the start. Regarding the board expectations, this is kinda up to you. When you are doing a road to glory, it's more logical to have small club board expectations, but later down the line you might see that you can get away with almost anything at the club, as the board expectations are always just so low. If you are planning on only using youth academy players, then using the youth focused board expectations is probably best for you. Putting it on domestic focused basically means you will have to win the league but not really a Champions or Europa League. I would suggest to not use this one really. With the heavy depth board expectations, you can create another storyline by trying to clear a certain depth every season. This could get annoying later in your career mode, but it does give you a challenge each season. If you want a difficult challenge, then setting the board expectations on Football Giant will make it very hard to achieve the board objectives each season and could get you sacked after a few mistakes or after a bad run of form. You can also put your own custom board expectations, where you can maybe mix a couple of them together by, for example, clearing a huge depth every season, but to also keep producing a lot of players through the youth academy. When looking at your players in a squad settings screen, you might not like the players you are seeing or the formation that is used. The players you start with are suited towards the formation you see on this page. So if you are starting the save with a squad who plays a 3 at the back formation, then chances are you will not have many fullbacks if you actually prefer to play in a formation with 4 defenders. And you can actually change this by clicking the regenerate players option at the bottom of the screen, until you see a formation you like, or you see players who you think have a cool name or nationality, for example, who you can even try to create some storylines around. So the last thing you need to think about before loading the create a club save are the career settings. To once again make it a bit more challenging and even a bit more realistic, turning off the first transfer window in the first season might make it a bit harder to get to the top of the league in the first season. I wouldn't blame you when you do enable the transfer window though, as a key factor for me to keep my saves going is to make transfers and signing new players. Next up is the half length, as you might find 6, 7 or 8 minutes too long to play for each half of every game. This might cause you to be bored quite quickly and makes you stop playing the career mode. Putting this on 4 or 5 minutes might help that a bit. Regarding international job offers, I would normally disable this when you are doing a long save in one of the top 5 leagues. But if you are for example doing the New York Cosmos idea, then just playing in the MLS and having no international competitions to play in might get a little bit boring. Having the option to manage the USA or another country in career mode changes it up a bit. And the last thing I'm mentioning for the career settings is the negotiation strictness. Once again, if you are doing a save in one of the top 5 leagues, then I would put this on strict to make it a bit harder to sign good players. But when you are doing a road to glory in any of these countries, then I would put this on loose, as there's a bug in career mode this year that causes you to not being able to sign any other players from other top leagues when you have eventually reached the first division of your country. And when you are doing a save outside the top 5 leagues, I would also put this on loose, just so you can buy some older players who have had a legendary career and you just want to give them a last goodbye playing for your club. Now that you have chosen the right club to create and have all the right settings, your career mode journey starts. As most of you know, at the start of each new season, you can change your created club's kits and stadium. I would suggest to actually do this and for example upgrading your kits through each season. So you first have some simpler looking kits that aren't anything special, and as the club is getting promoted or is getting better results, you upgrade the kits and make them look better with each season. You should do the same with the stadium. If you are starting a save in League 2 and have made fantastic progress to get into the Premier League, it wouldn't be that surprising if a club upgrades their stadium. If you put your team in the first division of that country from the start, then you should probably change it every 4 or 5 seasons to keep the save a bit more fresh. I would also highly suggest to change the stadium's color, seat color, pitch grass color, net color, pitch pattern, net shape and even the goal song, crowd chants and walkout anthem. Change every possible thing about your stadium from season to season or every 2 seasons, just to keep the career mode a bit more fresh, a bit more new, and so you aren't looking at the exact same stadium all the time. As you know, once you have actually started your create a club career mode, there's no real difference to a normal career mode. So one thing to keep a career mode going for a longer period of time is to use storylines. Now I'm not going too in depth into the meaning and all of it, as I made a video about it earlier this week already, which includes more than 20 storylines that you can apply to any career mode save with any team you are using. Be sure to check that video out for more information. I've also made several previous videos about how to keep a career mode save more enjoyable or how you can make it more fun. Be sure to check my channel to get a lot more tips. So these were some tips to improve your create a club career mode. Let me know in the comments which tip you would give to other career mode players to keep their create a club save more enjoyable. If you thought this video was helpful, be sure to give it a like, as it would help me out a lot, and subscribe to my channel to not miss any other career mode tips, and I will see you at the next video.